We're live. We are live on X right now, Twitter, whatever you call it. We are live. I am recording live from Tucson, Arizona in my hotel room. Chase is in Provo, Utah. I was at the McHale Center tonight. Chase, I know you were locked in. BYU defeats Arizona on the road in the McHale Center in a controversial ending. Richie Saunders knocks down 2 free throws. BYU clinches a win on the road with free throws. Chase, what has happened to this team?
It's a completely different team than what we were seeing a few months ago and the conversations we had and how bleak we were thinking. It's different, and this win proves it. Everything that we thought about this team, every negative thought is wiped away in my mind, at least for tonight. You know, there's still a lot of film to watch. But holy cow. Right at the moment you thought free throws were going to lose it for BYU and they were going to blow it at the line, Richie Saunders comes through. He proves once again he is BYU's go-to guy. Seals the win. I mean, it's just impressive all the way around. The most impressive thing to me was like the poise, the confidence at the end offensively, despite hostile crowd, really good team. And it was personified in Richie Saunders' free throws there at the end.
It was a heavyweight boxing match. It was blow for blow, punch after punch. Chase, we talked about this on the preview. Caleb Love, he anywhere I'm at, he says, I'm Michael Jordan. I don't care. Whatever game I am in person attending. I was at the 22 Final Four, Duke, Carolina. I was at Provo a couple weeks ago, BYU, Arizona. I was there tonight. I think those are 3 of Caleb Love's best games of his life, almost, outside of him playing at Cameron Indoor on Coach K's farewell night. Credit to Caleb Love, man. He was knocking down crazy shot after crazy shot, just lights out from the free throw line too. But Chase, let's start with the Richie Saunders foul. That's where we're going to start here. At the very end, Richie Saunders gets the controversial call. I'll start off here. Look, flat out, it wasn't a foul. No ifs, ands, or buts. It was not a foul. But the problem is it was a makeup call because I don't think Caleb Love necessarily got fouled on the other end. And the whole theme of this is, look, did BYU win on a controversial call? Yeah, sure, whatever. Number one issue is officiating was awful all night tonight. They called it way too tight, man. Let them play some ball.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like, if you're a coach and you came to a coach and you said, look, would you rather the refs be like even like favoring one way or the other and like, or just consistent? Would you rather them just be consistent and just call the game how it is over than just like, this eye-catching game, like call the obvious ones? Like, they would just say, just be consistent. Just call it how it is the whole time. I wouldn't say the refs were even that tonight. I think the first half was totally officiated differently than the second half. And those last 3 to 4 minutes were just some of the touchiest basketball calls I've ever seen. And that ended and all culminated in that Richie Saunders call, which I'm with you, Karter. It's a weak call. I mean, it's bad. It doesn't take crazy eyes to see it. You can sit there, you can break it down, right? You can argue it's a hip check, right? And he got him with the body, whatever. Look, at the end of the day, I don't think you're making that call if you're most refs. But at that moment, our guy Tony Padula.
Tony, you're watching Ole Miss basketball.
Shout out Ole Miss Hoops. Our guy Tony Padula, who, look, I guess it's Padilla, that a lot of guys don't like, right? We've complained about over the season. Gave them the call, and it was touchy because everything else was touchy. Arizona got plenty of touchy calls too. Again, it's not making up for it because I do think it was a bad call. But at the end of the day, you live with what you get from the refs, and it wasn't a given, right? I think every BYU fan at this point, the way the season's gone, was like, oh, well, he's still got to make these free throws, right? And
he had just missed the and one free throw, and you go up to the line. I mean, and
Allen misses his right before that.
Being in the stands, he goes up for that first free throw. Could have sworn it was so short, man. Could have sworn it was, and it just rolled right in there.
Bounced off the front, yeah.
Yeah, once he made that one, I was pretty confident he was going to make the second one. But BYU pulls it out in the McHale Center on the road against Arizona. Chase, I'll be honest, man, I think this is the best regular season BYU basketball's ever had. The fact that you beat Kansas in your own building by 34 points, then you go on the road and beat a ranked Arizona team in Tucson. That just doesn't happen. BYU's never had an opportunity like this for one, let alone, look, you can say the San Diego State stuff with Jimmer. That's great and all. Look, that was one game. BYU did two of these top games, Kansas blue blood, Arizona French blue blood. This is definitely one of the greatest weeks of BYU basketball history in the regular season ever, but I would call it the greatest, especially in my lifetime in the last 20 years.
It's because of the stacking wins against legit programs. Even in the Jimmer days, right? You have amazing San Diego State wins, whatever, and then you're off playing Air Force, you're Colorado State, and these teams. It's the fact that you get to play West Virginia, come out with a crazy win there. You get to own Kansas State, hottest team in college hoops. You get to murder Kansas, the Kansas Jayhawks, and then go to the McHale Center in Arizona and win by 1 point in a 96-95 shootout on the late night. So, you're the only thing on TV, ESPN game. This is the greatest week, 2 weeks, probably I'd even say, in BYU basketball regular season history. And it's been culminated into one of the best wins that they've ever had.
Yep.
Here in Arizona. I mean, just awesome. Would you say it's better than the Kansas win last year at Kansas?
No.
I think that's fair.
I think winning at Allen Fieldhouse is different, especially the way that team did it and Dallin Hall knocking those tough shots. I don't know. It's neck and neck. It's close, but I still think I lean winning at Allen Fieldhouse a little bit more. But also tonight, Chase, BYU, I think they're not a bubble team anymore. I think they played themselves off the bubble tonight.
Yeah, a lot of those accounts that are really good, by the way, JBR, T3 Bracketology, they're not afraid to say, like, these guys are locks. And the consensus from those guys, who are really good, by the way, are like, BYU needs one more win, any win, they said, and they're a lock. Now they're playing for pretty much seeding, and they control their destiny here about where they want to be, how high they can go. And so BYU's, like, they're in the tournament, barring a total collapse here. They've done it, and they just took the toughest part of their schedule and went 4-0.
Yeah.
And now they are not just a let's make the tournament team. They are now a holy cow. This team has the potential to do something in the tournament team. If you watch BYU and you thought that they might be a sexy upset pick, dark horse going a run in the tournament, I mean, just it's been magnified to the nth degree right now after what they just did at Arizona.
They're definitely going to be a sexy pick in March, especially after doing what they've now done on ESPN, the big stage. They are going to be a sexy pick in March. And I'll be honest, if you're a 2 seed in March Madness, because BYU likely not going to be able to play in the 8-9 game, if they're a 2 seed or a 3 seed, you're looking at, oh man, potential second round matchup against BYU. You're terrified. That's a real upset spot right there, but that's looking too far ahead. We've got a lot to talk about from tonight. The officiating, we kind of already touched on a little bit. Caleb Love was unbelievable tonight, knocking down shots. Chase, I think the most impressive thing that I came away from tonight was that at times this was the difference between a few weeks ago when they played in Provo and tonight, was that BYU responded, making tough shot after tough shot after tough shot after tough shot. And it didn't matter who it was, whether it was Cannon Catchings, whether it was Moet Mag, whether it was Richie Saunders, Dallin Hall, Kaba Keita in spots, even Dawson Baker made some tonight. It didn't matter who it was. People were just knocking down shots. The crowd was going bananas. It was getting crazy in there. It was getting frantic. Didn't matter. They were still knocking down huge shot and responding when Arizona Arizona could have pulled away many times and BYU just killed momentum. It's like when LJ Cryer and Jamal Shed came into the Marriott Center last year with Houston, just knocking down big shot after big shot, killing the crowd. And BYU were crowd killers tonight, Chase.
It was the best offensive performance of the season, no doubt. One of the best offensive performances I've seen from any BYU team in a super long time. Better than anything they did last season. The shot making was at such a high elite level. The execution from top to bottom, the way they were able to get to the paint, kicking it out, the action they ran on out of bounds, everything was clicking, dude. And honestly, they looked comfortable. I mean, there's a few turnovers here and there, right, as there is in basketball, but they just handled the pressure so dang well. And you just don't get that without the battle scars at the beginning of the season, right? Being bullied by Houston, Providence, these teams who kind of just, ate your lunch money and took your lunch money earlier in the season. You were able to withstand that here against one of the best teams in the Big 12 at their place, sold out crowd. It didn't matter. Like, it just, you were kind of just waiting for BYU to finally be like, okay, they're making all these shots. When are they going to miss one? And when is Arizona going to hit the big one? And the thing is, Arizona hit big ones. BYU kept hitting bigger ones. And you got to shout out every single guy on the team for just hitting huge shots. Cannon, like you said, just massive shots in the corner. Mawit Mag hits a big corner three, what it seems like every time BYU needs it. Trevin Nell was amazing tonight. Just hitting clutch shots, tough, high-level shots, too, off the bounce pass, that is, and coming off of screens. Of course, Richie Saunders doing what he does. I mean, everything. Yegor hits this is much earlier in the game, but it hits a logo three at the end of like, all of it mattered, and all of it was clicking into what I'd say is best offensive performance I've seen in a long, long time. It's up there, maybe ever.
And on top of that, Kevin Young coached one heck of a game tonight. My goodness, Chase. He was it was Tommy Lloyd versus Kevin Young tonight. That timeout he called, and then afterwards it led to Trevin Nell coming off the screen, knocking down that catch and shoot three. Things were frantic, and boom, that timeout changed everything. That was so massive, and just picking his spots, when to call the right timeouts, knocking down tough, and just calling the right plays, using the right lineups. And I was questioning it too. I thought some of those Foose minutes, I thought, man, Arizona's getting rebounds left and right, but turns out it didn't matter. There was a reason he kept playing Foose with Dallin Hall, because they have that chemistry together and everything. And so credit to this coaching staff, credit to all these players. I can't, I'll be honest, Chase, I just didn't think they were going to be able to get it done. We talked about that. We were wrong on the preview.
We were dead wrong, and we will hold this L. That's on us.
Mihailo Boskovich was holding that L, not towards Arizona, towards us.
Towards us. The way that, we're giving bulletin board material left and right. This time we did it in BYU's favor, though. So is this one on us? Do we kind of get credit for this one?
Yeah, we can take it. Yeah, for sure, we can take it. No, oh my goodness. Real quick in the chat, Nathan Hot Take said, shout out to Karter with a top tier question in the post game press conference.
Yeah, what'd you ask?
Talked about the physicality, how they raised their level of physicality, and then he talked about how
pro show.
He talked about if the NBA was, or if like college was reffed like the NBA, it'd basically be a disaster. But he had a good response. Not a bad question. Threw it in there last second.
Big J Karter, look at this guy.
Yeah,
come on.
They were like last question. I was like. And then it popped in my head. I was like, oh, yeah, let's ask this one real quick. But anyhow, talking about the game tonight once again, should we do F the Mormons now, or should we talk about the atmosphere tonight?
I mean, it kind of go hand in hand. Let's just get it over with. Let's talk about it.
So, quickly, atmosphere tonight. McHale Center was awesome. I mean, it was everything it was cracked up to be. Is it in that top echelon of top-tier college basketball venues? No, it's not. It's not with Cameron Indoor. It's not with Allen Fieldhouse. But it is a legit venue that everybody should go see at least one time. Great crowd tonight during the game. And then after the game, there were the F the Mormons chants. I'm sure you guys saw it on the Church Ball Twitter account. It's blown up or whatever. Look, man, I'm just going to call it like it is. I'm not here to make stupid, crazy statements or do all this stuff or whatever. I know Arizona apologized or whatever. Look, college kids are stupid. I understand. It's just scumbag behavior when you're doing that. When you chant F the Mormons, it's just scumbag behavior. It is what it is.
It is what it is. It's like people get really upset and they're like, if this was any other religion or organization, like this would be a big deal. And that's probably true. But what do you want? Do you want them to punish them, ban them, whatever? I don't think that matters. I think the problem here is like, just keep that crap out of sports. This is sports, dude. Like, yeah. I get you're pissed. I get you're emotional. I've been there too. I've had bad losses. I've acted out, crashed out. But why on earth would I start to chant, super negative detrimental stuff about something that has nothing to do with a ball and a hoop. You know, and I'm not even saying like you should just start chanting stuff about players or anything like that. Like, it's sports. Like, grow up, you know, be a person, like live your life in the context of these are people, this is a game, these are 18 to 24-year-olds you have never met in your life, including the people you root for, and you're saying awful things, screaming them at the top of your lungs, and you feel vindicated because a few other people around you are doing it as well. It's embarrassing. You wouldn't do it solo, right? You wouldn't do it in any other setting to anyone else, right? But because you're just sad that your favorite 20-year-old lost to some other 20-year-olds, you're going to start to do that. So it's just like, what are you doing, man? Keep it out of sports.
Yeah, it's stupid. It does. I mean, whatever. And guess what? For BYU fans, I mean, I know people are offended by it, and look, I get it. I mean, that's messed up. Yeah, I think I nailed it. I think it's just scumbag behavior, and that's all it is. And so
it is. It's
scumbag
total
behavior by the Arizona fans. It is what it is. And yeah, there's a lot going on with the Arizona folks tonight. But anyhow, Chase, let's answer some chats real quick in here. The chat's lagging right now, so I'm sorry, people, if you're in the chat right now. Peyton_Clayson said, sometimes I don't mind hearing it because it always means we took a big dub. That is true. It is. I mean, look, be honest, man. If you're a BYU fan right now, it kind of feels awesome. It kind of feels awesome that.
Hey, can I say something? It kind of is the best to beat a sore loser sometimes. Watching the crash out,
of course,
is pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet watching sore losers be sore. It's awesome.
Absolutely. And then Jack Carpenter, that shout out the GOAT. Same stuff happened when I played for BYU lacrosse. Get the result and move on. And BYU got the result tonight. Absolutely, 100%. And then Eli Bond at Eli Bond on Twitter asks, what's your take on the commentator saying Yegor is a late draft pick? I was getting texts about that constantly throughout the game, Chase, that I guess Chris Spatola was just ragging on Yegor all game, apparently.
Yeah, he kept on calling him like the talented freshman, and like kept on like calling out all his mistakes, and was kind of slow to see like the good things he was doing. I don't know. Maybe he was just being extra critical, and maybe that was just in his notes. He also was like mispronouncing names. It wasn't an awful broadcast, but there's some moments there where you're like, okay, this is the late night crew in Arizona for sure. But nothing too weird, other than I think you're just a little misinformed. I think Yegor, as far as we know from the draft people that we get to talk to and end up friends of the show, he's a lottery pick. Yeah. So it's just like, maybe you're misinformed. Maybe you're just being a little overly critical about him. But yeah, that's all I noticed.
Yeah. Anyhow, let me ask you this. Who was your MVP tonight?
It's a great and tough question because I really think so many people played well. At the end of the day, in my mind, it's Richie Saunders. I think he's just solidified himself as not just the best player on the team. I'm not even talking about most talent, right? He is the best, and I think the most important player for BYU basketball. And if you are another team, you have to start to build your defense around stopping 15. Like, you have to, he's not that guy's a shooter. He is now you have to be in that guy's face. If he gets a look, he will stick it in your eye type of guy. Oh, but also he'll drive on you if you over close out. And also he can dish it out, right? And he can find open guys, and he'll knock down free throws. And he's finishing at the rim. Like, the things that he is doing are like what elite college basketball players do, and the steps he's taken. So tonight, obviously huge first half, a little bit quieter in the second half, but still he just carries with all his energy and his fight, and he just always seems to be setting the tone and the example for this team. He did it all night long, and then of course came in the clutch at the very end. Like, there's a reason that play was run for him. It was that fake dribble handoff at the top. It was designed for him to go. I don't know if the shot was the best at the end there.
But Kevin Young said the play broke down, and then Richie just got fouled. So it was all a busted play, and he was like, yeah, the plan was to go to Richie. It got busted, and then he got fouled. So he was like, I'll take credit, but like it wasn't really the play that was actually drawn up there. The other MVP tonight, and I love this in the press conference, and we'll talk about it right now. Cannon Catchings coming in. Dude everyone thought he was in the doghouse. Even we were like, what is going on? And the body language was terrible the last few games, rightfully so, because he wasn't playing much. And he's a young kid. He's struggling with that. But we talked about that last episode when Jack asked what's going on with Cannon. I said, hey, it can change so fast. Everything in college sports can change on a dime. He has one good game against Arizona. All of a sudden, it's a totally different outlook on Cannon. And that's what happened tonight. He comes in 4 of 6 from 3, 4 of 6 from the field, coincidentally, 2 of 3 from the free throw line, a Klay Thompson-like stat line where probably 3 total dribbles and 6 field goal attempts, and all from three-point range. He was awesome. And Kevin Young, I loved how Kevin Young didn't beat around the bush. He was honest in the press conference. He goes, look, I've given him a short leash, and he's responded, and I'm really proud of him. And, this is who he is. And he's playing like this, our ceiling just goes through the roof.
Absolutely. BYU's a different team if he can do what he does. He's just being able to knock down those shots is so massive. And when they went to that lineup where he was playing the 4, it was really interesting for BYU because it just created a big conundrum for Arizona's defense and being able to, reckon with what you're going to have to do, putting, some of these big guys on Cannon. And again, didn't dribble much tonight, wasn't going to the basket or anything, but being able to sit there and hit down shots is huge. Thought he played pretty decent defense as well, had 2 steals. I'm just so impressed for a guy of his age with all the expectations he probably had, with also all the noise. We're talking about him. Of course, we're supportive. We're not we're dumping on him, but a lot of people are talking about him. A lot of people know what's going on. A lot of people are asking questions. Why isn't he playing this, that? Kevin Young himself saying, put him on a short leash. And he was ready, dude. He doesn't complain. There hasn't been any under the table reports about, oh, Cannon feels this, Cannon saying this, Cannon. It's just going to work, getting ready, and being there for the biggest moments in a hostile environment is insane for a freshman kid to do. To just stay in the game mentally like that and be tough is super impressive.
That's what was so impressive for me tonight is freshmen going on the road in an environment like that don't typically respond in that manner. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter who was in his face tonight. It was just going up, and it was likely going in. 4 of 6 from the field tonight. I'll look at the chat real quick. Shrimpy Jacks in the chat said, boys, insane W tonight. Shout out to y'all for grinding so late. That being said, I got 8:30. I'm assuming that says church tomorrow. Got to hit the sack. A lot of people with church in the morning. Look, I think church attendance should be high after getting that call at the end of the game tonight. And so make sure
it's going to be 15%.
Yeah, tithing goes up another couple percent after that one. I love it. Shout out to everyone in the chat. We'll keep responding to stuff in the chat.
Some nice words on Twitter, and he's been a season-long guy. Shout out Shrimpy.
Yeah, all the OGs are here. Don't worry, man. We're here late. Let's take a quick break, and then we're going to answer a bunch of takes and a bunch of comments right after this. Chase, let's go to the Twitter comments. Let's answer some people's questions or takes.
Let's do it. Thank you all for commenting as always. We really want to get to every single one. We're going to try and keep these short. We got a lot of comments, but we do want to talk about a lot of things. So shout out y'all. First, we got our guy Nathan Hot Takes. I know he's here live with us. He also commented. He says church ball doesn't know ball? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Nope.
Fair.
Well, okay. Fair, but not fair. I did say it'd be a lot of free throws tonight, and I did say it would be played well into the 80s. It was played into the 90s, so I guess I don't know ball at that point. You're right. Also, in the Twitter chat right now, shout out Chris Bond. I can't remember. It's not popping up for me. The chat's all messed up right now. He said TV Padilla trying to outdo TV Teddy Valentine, for those that don't know. That is an all-time take. He's trying. It's like Jeffrey Anderson, TV Teddy, and Tony Padilla right now are just going for the crown, man. They're all sitting there like, I need to be the most hated ref.
It's like the LeBron, Steph, and KD of their time, man. They both all incredible in their respective games and fighting for that attention. Super special stuff. Our guy Jack made a meme. If you don't check out Jack memes, you're missing out. They're so good. He says, "Call me Cole Adams because we don't sit down." You could argue BYU just beat two teams that were more talented. Proof the guys are bought in. Also, this keeps popping up on my feed. Yeah, we don't forget. And then he has the classic Melvin Gordon where he's looking at Russell Wilson on the Broncos. It's the Church Ball Day ones is the Melvin Gordon looking at me and you taking Arizona. So we take the L. We own it. But yeah,
what's crazy is sorry, I'll go real quick. What's crazy is Arizona shot. If I told you these stats, Arizona shot 21 of 25 from the free throw line, shot 10 of 22 from 3-point range. They out-rebounded BYU by 11. Would you have said BYU won that game? I would have said there's a 0% chance.
Yeah, I would say we probably would have seen some Elijah Crawford and not in BYU's favor. What's crazy, Carter, we talked about this in the preview, right? We were like, oh my gosh, Arizona almost shot 50, 40, 90. They shot even better tonight. Like
they did.
Significantly better than that tonight, and BYU still came away with the win. It goes to show, like, I think BYU in that first meeting with Arizona, if they don't have that 7-minute stretch there, what they could have done, and obviously they didn't have that tonight. This wasn't like the greatest defensive showing from BYU, although I wouldn't say it was bad. Like, I just think Arizona was also hitting like big, tough shots in their own gym.
I would say the same for Arizona, too. I don't think Arizona really played bad defense tonight. It was a mix of dudes were just knocking down tough shot, contested shots, rather. And then also, when the game is officiated so tight, you have to play defense so differently, and it's a lot more timid defense, even though shots were still contested. I thought both teams really were playing great defense all night. Dudes were just hitting lights out.
I mean, that's why I'm like, this is the best offensive performance BYU's had who knows how long. Caleb Love had 27. He played awesome, hit massive shots in the biggest moments. As a team, Arizona shot 54% from the field, 45% from three, and shot 25 free throws, made 21 of them. Like you said, out-rebounded BYU like crazy. And BYU won. They won by one in Arizona. Like, this is, I actually can't even believe it just looking at that. Shout out Tony Padilla.
Oh, I know. If you're in the Twitter live chat, make sure to keep chatting with us. We'll respond live on here. Let's keep going. I've got one here. It's at Data Please. I hope Kevin and BYU file a complaint with the NCAA and the Big 12 for the horrible behavior of Arizona fans. Other schools have permanently banned fans for less. And then some other people are saying move on and whatnot. Look, if you're Kevin Young, I'd stay out of it if I'm him. It's just what's the win there for Kevin Young, I guess, to make a statement or whatever. Arizona apologize. BYU can file a complaint with the NCAA Big 12. It's more of just a bad PR thing that's going to happen to Arizona, and that's probably the nature of it. So, yeah.
And the BYU's not going to do anything. It's not the BYU way. It's how the church operates. They're not going to draw attention to it or complain. It's not what's happening. It is sucks. And if some people feel bad, and I hope you don't feel too bad. It's just people being dumb. Don't listen to them. Don't let them get to it. It's stupid.
Exactly. Nolan Mickelson here in the live chat at Mickelson Nolan said, stat of the night, BYU has scored 99 and 96 at U of A, two highest outings by a visiting squads against Arizona.
Yeah, the last time they did it was when Jimmer was there, and they beat Arizona by 30.
His coming out party his junior year.
It was like his first massive. I think he had 40 something in that game.
49.
40, it's just insane. So, man, if you're Arizona, especially after tonight, man, you hate to see the Cougs coming. Let's go back to the Twitter, our post here for the comments. So Zach at Zach Nelson 121. Shout out Ball Knower Zach. Says offense has been dialed as of late. Can the Cougs keep this up, or are teams going to figure out a way to scout it? And then he says he has another part I'll ask after that.
Can they keep it out? Will teams scout it? I think they'll scout it, but I mean, haven't they already been kind of scouting it so far that BYU wants to play it a little more up tempo? And I mean, and Richie Saunders is the number one guy on this team, so you're going to want to hound him. I think the scouting report a lot of the season has been dialed in on Yegor. I still think it will be because how dangerous he can be with the ball in his hand and getting others involved. But then it's just so many dudes can beat you, and there's so much depth with this team. It is really tough to scout them. It's also so late in the season. It's like, how much can teams really change how they play against you so far?
Yeah, I agree. And I think what's awesome about BYU is how they've been able to adapt their offense as the season has gone along, because we've just, there was points where we talked about how things needed to change, and guess what? They have. Like, they've completely changed. And so BYU's taken advantage, of learning and growing and making midseason adjustments. I also think what BYU has the advantage of, they're 11 deep. The amount of different lineups and the amount of different skills that all these different dudes bring to the table is such a big advantage for BYU. The things that they can roll out and run, it really is super unique to college basketball, and it is a huge advantage. So, if you're scouting BYU, what do you talk about first, right? Well, if I was to scout BYU, I'd say these guys have to shoot bad from three tonight, and we just have to keep them out of the paint. Like, that's what we have to do. And one, that's hard to do, right? Especially to a team who shoots as much as BYU does, and how prolific they are at not only making those, but running the stuff to get open, right? And I think BYU has so many guys to throw at you, and the pick and roll game comes into effect, right? What are you going to do about Jaeger? If you stop Jaeger, he's going to find Richie Saunders who can drive. Dallin Hall's going to come in, right? You have Foose who can post you up, and then you have guys like Mowit Mag who are going to be everywhere, backdoor cutting, going to the baseline. Like, there's just so many guys to deal with on this BYU team, this BYU offense, that it's coming together in an amazing way. Now, they shot incredible tonight. Like, the efficiency was through the charts. Everyone was hitting. Cannon Catchings was alive and well, having an insane game. So tonight's probably, like, I don't expect BYU to score 96 probably ever again this season, but they figured something out. And the fact that they have so many people to do about it will make it hard to scout in the future.
Yeah, and also shout out Zach, because he talked about it. He tweeted it out at halftime. I think we made sure to retweet it. He talked about how just attack Caleb Love on the pick and roll. BYU was looking for that switch every time to get Jaeger switched onto him, and then have him and Caleb run a pick and roll on Caleb Love, and it was barbecue chicken every time, whether it was Jaeger getting to a floater or a layup, or whether it was getting that lob to Kada, or not nailing it to some guy in the corner, whether it was Mag or Nell. That was there all night long, and they had so much success with that tonight. And do you want to ask the second part of this question?
Yeah, he says, also, how do we feel about giving more of Foose's minutes to Bosco?
It's fine, game script, and also it's like, it's tough to complain because, I mean, BYU's won 4 straight. They're red hot right now. I think I kind of feel for Boscovich a little bit, because he's in a tough spot. Like, the way he was just getting pulled in and out tonight, that's tough to find a rhythm. And so he's in a real tricky spot. Like, Trey Stewart's been in that position before. I mean, Trey Stewart played 18 minutes tonight, and he had some big time minutes tonight as well.
Yeah, I think the game plan for Kevin Young is kind of like, I'm going to figure out the centers as I go and just feel out which style of game is this, right? If it's a big, like, we just need Kaba to play in this game kind of game, then I think you'll play him more, right? And then if it's we want to stretch them out and we need to be able to play 5 out, it's a Bosco game, right? If we feels like he has an advantage down low, one-on-one, it's a Foose kind of night. So I think Kevin Young has the advantage of all these different guys. Tonight, I think they all played well in their respective roles, and obviously you came in with a win, so you can't complain, but could we have seen more Bosco minutes? Sure. I think he got a little banged up too, like here and there.
Yeah, but he was limping off. But he's fine.
At the end of the day, like, you came away with the win. So, but it is a good point, and it's something to explore. But I really think it's situational.
Speaking of Boscovich, we got Twitter live chat right now. Jack Carpenter said, Carter, did people actually want smoke with Boscovich? Yeah, sure. Let's pick a fight with the one guy on the team that has probably fought a bear before, I guess, outside of Jaeger. I think he wanted the smoke more than others wanted the smoke. So there's that. Nolan Mickelson said, can we get Mr. Mag an NIL deal with Mr. Mac? That's going to be on you, Nolan. Make that happen. Eli Bond said, what's the best case NCAA tournament seeding scenario with wins, including Iowa State and performing well in the Big 12 tournament? I think the absolute ceiling for this team, if they say they just won out the rest of the season, some miracle somehow, they won out the rest of the season and made a run and won the Big 12 tournament, I mean, you're looking at a 5.
5 seed. I think that's you win every game from now on. I think you're a 5 seed.
Winning the Big 12 tournament, because then you would have to run into the likes of Houston, Iowa State, or Arizona. You'd have to beat probably one or two of those on the way. And then on top of that, you'd get a win at Iowa State and win out right here. Yeah, I mean, 6 or a 5. 5, I think, is the absolute ceiling.
Yeah, I don't see them sneaking into the top 4. But 5, if they were to do something special here. And I mean, like, that's obviously that's best case scenario. Like, have the higher seed, the better, the favorable matchup you get as the rounds go on. But
yeah,
that'd be pretty special.
Someone in the chat said 7 seed best guess. Card's still on the table to potentially get an 11 seed. And then you have the whole Sunday rule, because now if you're playing on the 6-5 line, how does that affect the Sunday rule and where you end up going? So there's a whole headache to deal with that with the NCAA tournament committee. Look, the matter of the fact is BYU is likely going to be the team that gets punished for having to accommodate the Sunday rule, so they will likely get bumped down seed lines, as we're going to probably see as we did last year. So there's a whole mumbo jumbo to deal with that. We'll deal with that in a couple weeks when it comes time. Let's go back to the Twitter comments real quick. We got Karter A. He said, we are getting the very best with KY and his staff. They have been dialing up some incredible game plans. Tonight was a masterclass of coaching from both schools. Beautiful basketball. Unfortunate that the refs had their hands all over it too. I could not have said it better myself. Great job by both coaching staffs, Tommy Lloyd, Kevin Young, and company. It was beautiful basketball, man. I was sitting there at the game and going, holy crap, man, this is unbelievable. And I know we talked about it a ton of times this year, but really sit there and think, man, we could be watching a road game at Pacific on Flow Sports or whatever crappy broadcast, and we're like, wait, this is grainy high school footage? We're in a high school gym right now? No disrespect to Pacific, but all of a sudden you're playing at the McHale Center, 15,000 people going bananas there, and you're in a game played into the 90s. It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable.
It is. How far they've come. I gotta say, I think this is important and big to say. Kevin Young and his coaching staff have settled in such an immaculate way right now, and they are coaching out of their minds. And they outcoached Tommy Lloyd tonight. He learned everything from that last meeting with Arizona, and he cooked.
I don't even know if I would guard. I think I don't even know if he was out coach. I think both, because I think the way Tommy Lloyd's team was to play was, look, they realized everything was getting called, every ticky-tack thing. It was, all right, we're just going to keep driving and getting the call. This was the difference between this game and the Ole Miss game earlier on in the season, where Chris Beard and company said, hey, man, you go get those calls. They are calling every little thing right now. Go get them. Tommy Lloyd's team did it, and so did BYU, man.
Yeah, I don't mean to diminish Tommy Lloyd. He's a great coach. Obviously, he got BYU earlier in the season. But for me, what this coach staff's doing is beyond the X's and O's. You executed the game plan. You're scouting well. You're running offensive sets to just perfection. It's the way that they got these guys ready for this game. Karter, this was the perfect opportunity to punt. This was the perfect opportunity to be like, look, guys.
Punt, wrong word. It's let down.
Let down, yeah. But look, like, no, I think you can say punt. This happens in the NBA all the time. It's like back-to-back.
But that's the NBA. College basketball, I don't think you punt on games.
I'm just saying this was the perfect opportunity to be like, it's okay if we lose, right? And like, we don't need this game, right? This is really, really tough here. And I know that no one tries to do that. I'm not saying they would ever. I'm just saying from that perspective, right? I think, if we had lost this game, we'd be like, okay, well, what did we see and where do we go from now? I think they're okay. This is what the seed looks like. I don't think they move down, blah, blah, blah. But getting these guys ready for this game and then showing the fight that they did, Arizona went on a lot of mini runs. And like you said, BYU answered every time, right? And it was through their shots. It wasn't through just taking timeouts. It wasn't through, although he did take good timeouts, strategic positions, it was them fighting through the physicality, through being poised in the clutch. It was also them, Karter, like talking crap. It was Boscovich yelling to the crowd and the scuffle of the benches being like, guess what? Screw you guys. Like, we just beat you in your place. Like, we're those dudes. Like, we actually care. We got dogs in us on this team. It was Elijah Crawford and freaking and Boscovich and Trey Stewart getting flipped off by white ladies in the crowd because they're just like we're those freaking dudes. Like, we just came in, we just took over your trap, And like, that is like the mentality we wanted from BYU 2 months ago. They didn't have it. They have it now. They know they're good. They know they're better than good. They know they can beat these teams. And that's due to, first off, leadership from the team, the players, the coaching staff. They've made them believe that. And wins have built that. They've stacked on each other to build this momentum to get to that point. But you have to have that in any stage of basketball, especially in college basketball, especially if you want to do something special in March. You have to feel like you are the best MFer walking into the gym. And I think BYU feels that way right now. And it was apparent how they behaved after the game. And that to me was like the biggest story, like coming into the McHale Center doing that. It was beautiful to watch.
Could not agree more. Could not agree more, because think about how this team looked and felt, and the body language and how they are reacting when Providence punched them in the mouth, when Houston punched them in the mouth, where they're getting blown out, 20-plus loss games. Now look at this team. That's a credit to the coaching staff for keeping these dudes bought in. We talked about that all season long, Chase. In an era of NIL, these dudes are getting paid. It is very easy for them to check out and go, you know what, I'm already getting $1 million or whatever. I don't care. I'm not, I'll just go somewhere else next. Doesn't matter. No, every single person on this team is still bought in, even through tough times throughout the season, getting their doors blown off. And just responding this way shows that BYU made the right hire, home run hire, and they have the guy for the future. And on top of that, he's one heck of a recruiter on top of that as well. So you just got everything going on. Let's go into the chat real quick. Josh Newman tweet on Twitter said, Flow Sports laughing emoji. Flow Sports, I can't remember some of the apps on there. I felt like when I was watching WCC games, I was downloading these random apps. I'm like, am I going to get a virus on here? What is happening? I feel like it'd be safer to watch on an illegal stream.
It feels like it is an illegal stream. Like, do I go to Streamies? Like, what is this?
Nolan Mickelson said, will there be more BYU fans or Sun Devil fans in Tempe? Unfortunately, neither of us will be at that game in Tempe. I wish I could be. I would say 50-50, right?
It's still a home game for Arizona State, right?
Yeah, because the students make it a tough one where, I don't know, but Arizona State's been kind of bad recently. I would probably say 50-60% BYU fans. Zach is still in the chat. There aren't a lot of games that I go back and watch the full replay of. This will be one I watch for years. 1,000%. This is one you're never going to forget if you're a BYU fan. And then he also said, Karter, can we send you to Ames as well? Yeah, I can go to Ames if someone pays for the trip. I'll be in Ames, Iowa in 2 seconds.
Sponsor his trip to Ames, yeah.
Yeah, get me a 4-wheel drive car though. I stink at driving in the snow. I'm that guy that people in Utah are like, "Oh, this idiot can't drive in the snow." You're freaking right. I can't drive in the snow. I'm from North Carolina. I don't deal with this stuff. Everything closes down when it snows. If it's snowing, I'm pooping my pants in the car, 2 hands on the wheel. I'm sitting here freaking out, praying 400 times going, oh my gosh, please somehow get me home, get me home. I'm the biggest wuss when it comes to driving in the snow, Chase. But if that happens in Ames, look, I need a 4-wheel drive car, but I will stomach through a snowstorm in Ames if it means I get to go cover BYU Iowa State.
You might be like the good luck charm. Like, this might be a real thing, Karter. We might need to send you out to who knows where they go for the big.
I was at Utah.
We were both there. Maybe it's me. Maybe I got to stay away from these away games.
Kevin Young in the press conference. I need to put this clip out from the presser. He talked about how the last play of the game where he talked about how the Utah loss and that last play really ate up at him because he said, I didn't draw up a good play at the end of Utah. And today I felt like I was drawing up good plays and stuff. And he said that really ate at me and stuff. Really great clip. I'll make sure to put that out there. Jack in the chat said, walk into your trap, take over your trap. Call me G. Kirko. Where's Dylan at? Shout out Dylan Wilkerson of the Karter Cast, the man, the myth, the legend himself. Shout out Kirk Cousins. Eli Bond said, GoFundMe Karter to Ames. Start it up. I will be in Ames, Iowa. I can promise you that. If there's enough money to send me to Ames, Iowa, I will be there with my hotel discount and everything. So, Chase, let's go back to the Twitter comments.
Yeah, let's do. We got Doug Dillard here at Dillard_Doug. So talk about belt to butt. I'm not going to say that word
Belt
on
to cheek,
live
boy.
podcast. He says, I don't care about the reffing. It was badly consistent. Came on the road in a hostile environment and pulled off the upset. BYU got me thinking some unimaginable things about what they will do in the tourney right now. This is one of those nights, man. Like, this is one of those games, and this is why it shows it. If you can walk into the McKeel Center and win a game, you can do that at neutral site. Like, if you could bring your own energy, bring that intensity to such an environment like that, it's one of the best teams in the conference. You can do that at neutral site in March. You can do it. This is what we need to see.
It's going to be a cold gym in Wichita, Kansas at 11 a.m. Central on a Thursday.
You got to
bring that same energy.
Yeah, you got Marriott hotel eggs sitting in your stomach. You're like, hot dang, dude, I got to warm up.
I had some this morning from a Town Place Suites in the Phoenix area, and did not settle well, Chase. So, but anyhow, let's keep going in these Twitter comments real quick. We've got E-Dub. Shout out to Cannon Catchings. Made big-time shots when the Cougs needed it. Richie Saunders will go down as an all-time fan favorite. I said that this month was full of opportunities after the Utah L, and look where we're at now. Shout out E-Dub. Dude knows ball. Playing for the NCAA tournament seeding now. Go Cougs. Couldn't have said it better myself. Richie Saunders is he's playing himself. If he returns next season, plays with AJ DeBanza next season, he's putting himself in literal BYU legend category if he can continue this and they can make a run in this tournament or next.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He's turned into that guy. This season's been huge for him. Let's go Peter Van Leeuwen. Dropping over 90 points 2 games in a row against nationally recognized teams is stellar. First-year coaching staff with the ability to adapt throughout the season is exciting to see, as well as a team who won't quit. What can this team do to make a substantial March run? Great question, Pete. I think they have to keep up what they're doing, obviously. And it's kind of a lot what we talked about. Sometimes shots will fall, sometimes they won't. Tonight they did. Incredible shooting game from them. But like I said, the biggest thing is just the attitude. It's who you think and know that you are as a team, rallying together, being ready, being hungry, bringing the energy. That's what's going to get you places in March. Every Cinderella team that you've ever seen make a deep run in the tournament believed in themselves. It's cheesy, it's whatever, but they thought they were those dudes, right? And they knew, and they thought that they could do that run. Then they woke up every morning, got to that cold gym, and they're like, we're going to do something special today. And they did it. So if BYU can keep up this mentality, and I think they can, because they're just in an amazing place right now with all these wins. They won 8 of the last 10, Karter. I think that they can do something special in March, but you can't lose it. You got to stay focused and keep bringing that mentality day in and day out, practice and games.
It's that confidence, especially rolling right into March with BYU's got right now, like you said, and it's also guard play. Guard play wins in March. That is like the cardinal rule of March Madness when you're picking a team to go far. That's a double-digit seed or whatever. Guard play wins in March. BYU's got great guard play. BYU can score in so many different ways. And Chase, if you're going to make a long run as a Cinderella and knock off some of these top dogs, you got to be able to shoot threes, and BYU can do that with the best of them in the country right now. So I think that's what it's going to take for them to make a substantial March run. And Chase, guess what? Our preseason take of saying they're going to make the second weekend has a lot of life right now.
That stock price, doing a little roller coaster.
Oh, it's a meme coin, man. We're like GameStop with Robinhood. We're just flying all over the place. I think right now we're in the hundreds right now. And if BYU can beat Iowa State, man, we're talking about the $200, $300 stock price right now. Let's go back to the live Twitter comments. We got Nolan Mickelson saying, salute to the Colonel. We were talking about Richie Saunders. And Eli Bond said, Florida Gulf Coast confidence. I love it. That's love it. Dunk man. City. Let's go back to the Twitter comments. Michael Jones at BYU fan 112. Great game. However, is it just me or is rebounding a problem almost every game? Not necessarily. I feel like it's just against Arizona, who's one of the best rebounding teams in the country. Rebounding has been troubling at times, I think, depending on the lineup, but it's not necessarily a problem going forward. It's an thing you got to emphasize, but it's not like a worry spot for me going forward, to be honest.
Yeah, I probably feel a little more worried about it than you, Karter. Not a whole lot. Again, you're winning these games, but I always feel like you can always rebound better. Every time they get an offensive rebound, you're like, shouldn't have had that. So always thinking about it. And there wasn't a lot of balls to rebound this game. They scored 96 and 95 points. Ball was going through the net. Let's go. Mindset Paul at Mindset Paul 707 says, "What do you think about BYU getting a 4 seed in the Big 12 tournament, Carter? Then I'll just one game out of it, behind just Iowa State, which that game may look like a fight for a 4 seed in the Big 12 tournament."
If BYU gets the 4 seed, gets the double bye in the Big 12 tournament, you're talking about they're in a great position to actually win the thing. It's not this far-fetched idea that they could go on a little run and win this thing. Even if they play Houston in the final game, I'm telling you guys, this Houston team is still beatable. They've gone to the wire with teams like UCF. They aren't this unstoppable force, and this is a much, much different BYU team than when BYU played them a month and a half ago. If you're the 4 seed, you can really win this thing.
And having the double bye is just huge. It just is, man.
You avoid 2 games.
It's incredible. It's just a good feeling. You also avoid any chance of like any sort of embarrassing loss. Like that goes out the window. You're playing in the quarterfinals no matter what. Like it's so, you just have so much more confidence. You're rested well. You get to scout your guys more and be ready and do something special, man. I mean, I'm not going to bank on it right now, but they have secured at least that first round bye. I think at this point, 10-6 in the Big 12, Carter. Look at where we're at. Look at where they were 1-3. Remember they were 1-3 in conference play, and we were like, "Oh, dog, this is different."
Yeah, I remember. I remember. Nolan Mickelson in the chat said we have to avoid being the 8 or 9 in the big dance. Would hate to have to play the 1 on Saturday. I think BYU is in a pretty safe spot of avoiding the 8-9 based on the teams who are in it and all the geography stuff. Robbie McCombs put out a huge thing, a whole analysis thing on it. Go check it out. He went through the whole thing. Did we go with Nathan hot takes yet? Did we go through all of his hot takes? Because he had 2 comments.
No, we gotta get the hot takes.
We should have started with it. Shout out our guy. This was a better game for Cannon than the Baylor game. That is a very hot take. I'm going to have to disagree with him there, but the impact he had, because, I mean, either one of these games, if Canton doesn't play the way he did, BYU loses both of those games. So I guess it's kind of equal, I guess. And then he says, I can't keep saying they're just shooting so much better than usual from 3 every game, but it makes sense. Make it make sense.
Teams do shoot well against BYU, which at some point you got to identify the common denominator here. And I think BYU needs to maybe tune up their 3-point defense a little bit. Because look, if every team shoots well against you, then you're doing something maybe a little bit wrong. But obviously, it's not hurting them too much. And BYU outshot them tonight. And Arizona's they have shooters. They have good shooters. I mean, they haven't shot amazing on the season.
No, they shoot 31% from the field from 3. They're not a great 3-point shooting team. They're a physical team. But anyhow, he keeps going on saying if the refs didn't call those kinds of fouls all game, BYU wins by double digits. Brother, I'm telling you right now, I think most BYU fans share that sentiment right now. But BYU fans, look, they can't be the ones talking about refs right now. So, anyhow.
Just be grateful. I mean, now you know what it's like to be the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, just, enjoy it while it's there. And
or the New England Patriots, Chase.
No, those are all legit. No, those.
Oh, yeah, all the Patriots are legit. Okay,
no cool. Phantom PI calls there. Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah. Anyhow, in the Twitter chat right now, Jack said, call BYU the 2016 Leicester City. We about to run the table. So Jack is going to put a future on the Cougars at BetMGM right now to win March Madness at plus 20,000 probably. And then someone else in the comments said, LJ, the username's all messed up in here, by the way. So you'd probably have to win the last 4 games to get the 4 seed in the Big 12 tournament. 5 seed will be pretty easy to lock up, though. I agree. It would be tough, but if they did get to that point, then you're talking about they can actually win the thing.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on what Iowa State does, because that's your competition now, right? And they have to play some tough games, right? They got to go play rival Kansas State at Kansas State, who did beat them early in the season, and they also got to play Arizona. They got to see the Wildcats too. So BYU, and then they got to see BYU. That BYU Iowa State game could very well become the decider for the 4 seed at this point in the season. So it could have come down to that, which would be super exciting, pretty fun. So
Nolan said in the chat, live in San Antonio. You guys are welcome to stay at my house if you come down for the Final Four. Nolan, you're the man. I appreciate the offer. I have a hotel booked just in case for the Final Four. Don't you guys worry. If BYU makes the Final Four, I will be there no matter what. Chase, you better be coming too.
We will be there. We will be there.
You're making that happen?
100%. Of course.
Okay.
Could not
Did you
miss
get your
that.
flight?
No.
You might want to book a flight, brother. They're expensive.
That's true. I'll take a look at that.
You want to hit the Twitter comments?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, we got a lot. We got Elijah Bond, who's already talked about it, commented live, everything. Shout out him. He says, what was your top defensive play, top offensive play?
Ooh. Okay. Top offensive play. No questions asked for me. It was the after timeout play where Trevin Nell came off that screen, knocked down that three for me. My favorite defensive play, this is going to be a callback. It's when Dallin got that rebound and then did the head bob flying up and then got the foul call. I couldn't see if it was an actual flop or not, but Arizona fans were freaking out behind me. And it was, I'm not going to lie, it was pretty funny seeing that in the game. So I was texting you, Chase. If you head bobbed once tonight, you were getting the call.
Yeah, it was that kind of night, and you got to adapt. I think, yeah, I mean, those are both really good. There's not a whole lot of defensive plays to hang your hat on in this game. Again, 95 points.
No, but not by either team.
Exactly. But my favorite offensive play for BYU, besides that Trevin Nell three, obviously all the time out huge, the Mawit Mag corner contested three to put it to 90 and just give him that cushion. Huge. He hits those all the time.
That's what I was going to say. Doesn't it feel like he's been knocking down that thing all the time, just in the
all
corner,
the time.
Contested, and it just floats. He's got the highest arcing shot ever, and it's just butter. So anyhow, Nolan said in the Twitter comments, it wasn't a bad call. That is a hot take. And then let's see here. Scuttlebutt1 on Twitter said, catching's officially out of the doghouse with a smiling emoji. Seems that way. And then Peyton at Peyton_Clayson said on Twitter, how was the environment and how did it compare to the Marriott Center? So tonight, if you were going to go to the McHale Center, this would have been one of those like picture perfect nights to go where it's a tight game. Everything's, you're going to get the best kind of environment, full energy, hitting big shot after big shot and everything. I'm going to call it like I see it, man. I'm very unbiased when it comes to stuff. I know people are going to say that's crazy. It's impossible. I really am. I think the Marriott Center is a better venue to go see. When the Marriott Center is at its peak and when it's bumping, it's not Allen Fieldhouse. It's not Cameron Indoor, but I thought it was better. I thought the Marriott Center was still better than the McHale Center. Not saying the McHale Center was bad, but I would still take the Marriott Center, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I actually have been to too many college basketball games outside of BYU, and that's on me. I need to make a better effort. So I am biased, but Marriott Center's special. Like the Kansas game, if you were at that game, like you felt it, and you didn't even feel it full force because that game was such a blowout. Like
those Baylor. I
mean, like those tight games when a big shot happens gives me goosebumps every time, and it'll never get old.
In the Twitter chat right now, Nolan, shout out you in San Antonio. If we do go to the Final Four, Nolan, we will meet up with you in San Antonio. That is a promise. And Elijah Bond, Mag Corner 3 is barbecue chicken every day. Nathan Hot Takes, if we meet Houston in the Big 12 tourney, Kelvin Sampson gives all of March Madness a fresh defensive game plan. Does that shorten our dance run? Interesting question.
Can you read it for me one more time?
Yeah, no worries. If we meet Houston in the Big 12 tourney, Kelvin Sampson gives all of March Madness a fresh defensive game plan. Does that shorten our dance run?
He's one of the best coaches in college basketball, and the things that he does is special. Look, I mean, best case scenario is you probably, don't have to see Houston in the Big 12 tournament, regardless of what goes on and what you do. But, if you do, I think like you said, Carter, like I would love to see BYU match up with Houston again and see what you do.
And I think BYU, and I can tell you this, I think BYU wants to face Houston again. I think they would. Yeah. I think they would like to see how they would fare now compared to when they did in January. Jack in the chat said, was there a half-court shot, and how did it compare? Jack, I have the video. I wasn't able to tweet it out because the internet was awful there tonight. It was short. It was fairly short, and I'll DM you the video right after we get off of here. Let's go back to the Twitter comments real quick. Did we get through them?
We got just a couple stragglers here. Shout out everyone who commented. Y'all are
shout
the
out.
goats. Jared Labrum says, did you think it was a foul? I don't think it was a foul, Jared. Maybe there's a hip check. That's I don't see it. He said, and
That's
how
what
much?
we'll go with.
Yeah, and how much did it suck that so many fouls were called down the stretch? Yeah, it does suck. It slows down the game, and it just makes college basketball like it's just all of basketball really choppy. But that's you gotta adapt to the refs. Also, what a freaking game! Crazy shot making and just great coaching all around. If only the refs could have let the players play. Yeah, I agree.
Everyone agrees.
Yeah, great comment though.
I got Mindset Paul on here on Twitter. Said, what do you think about BYU? Oh, you did do that one? Okay.
Yeah,
that's
sorry.
what I thought you did, but I didn't know if it was a live chat.
Yeah, no, got that one. I think we've got just about everyone here, man.
Did we get T-Man? Not sure how all these national pundits are losing their minds over Richie getting free throws at the end when Caleb Love was gifted 2 shots on one of the softest calls of the night seconds before. Yeah, they were both bad calls. That's the thing. It's just terrible officiating tonight all around. Ticky-tack fouls. That's not how basketball should be played. It was 2 bad fouls. Richie was a makeup call. It's what it is.
Yeah, so, people can be mad about the Richie call. I think there's other things to point to as well.
Did you get Sofa Tofu?
Just about to read it. This is coming back to the F the Mormons chant. It says, why can't people just simply chant F BYU? F the Mormons is wild to me and honestly breaks my heart. I love rivalry banter, but I just feel horrible every time I hear it. And I agree. And yeah, why can't you just at least call out the school, the guys, the team that you lost to, and attack the personal lives of people who are doing it? It's silly. It's just scumbag behavior.
I know what a chant you could do to not do that instead. You could go, you can't do that. Yeah, or overrated. Those ones really sting.
Yeah, USA, that always gets people riled up too.
USA rules, though.
Yeah. Not at hockey.
Come on.
But
apparently not at hockey. Brutal. Too soon, Chase. Zach in the chat said, I'm not too worried about a team copying a Houston defensive game plan. A team we see earlier in the tourney won't be able to replicate it because nobody has the dudes that Houston does on D. They also don't have Kelvin Sampson coaching either. And also teams we talked about this, Chase, with BYU, where we talked about they're playing these super physical teams and people want to play physical with BYU because they just weren't as physical and were more soft at the beginning of conference play. That has shifted, man. That has shifted. BYU has played really physical basketball as of late, and I think that continues into March.
Yeah, and I think BYU is also just taking advantage of pushing the ball, right? Getting to these paint touches, which are so valuable, not just for shots at the rim, but away from the rim as well. And that they've just avoided, they haven't, when BYU gets stuck into a half-court set, that's when teams just love to push up, right, and just be physical. BYU's eliminated a lot of that with their fast-paced play and their execution in the transition game. And then even in those half-court sets, they've just grown up, man. We've watched this game grow up before our eyes this season. I mean, it's been one of the greatest progressions of a BYU team I've ever paid attention to, of where you started and where you are now. And let me tell you, that's just what you want in college basketball teams, because you want to be peaking at the right time at the end, right? If you're the same team, all 4 months of the season, you get scouted, people get used to you, they understand you, they know what to do with you. This BYU team, man, people don't know what to do with them right now, and it's really paying off.
Absolutely. Nolan in the chat said they should chant, play some defense. Play some defense. Both teams could have used that chant tonight.
Both teams could have. You know what? I'm not mad about it, though. It makes for some dang good basketball.
It was awesome. It was just a classic college basketball game. It was unbelievable. Anything else, Chase, before we wrap up? We should have a special guest coming in early this week. Yep, teasing that one. We'll get more information about that on Monday. Should have that coming out on Tuesday, hopefully, or Wednesday. And on top of that, we will have our Arizona State preview. Very excited about that. And then we'll go live after the Arizona State game on Twitter, as always. And anything else to promo?
Nah, just keep the comments coming, guys. Look, we freaking love you guys. We went live past midnight. And 827 views on Twitter, and y'all are just active and commenting, and this is special stuff. I'm really enjoyed this season, and this is the most enjoyable part. It's paid off, and it's been mostly in part because of y'all joining us, hanging out. So appreciate y'all.
It's been awesome. It's 1:23 here right now in Arizona. There's probably people on the East Coast right now watching at 3:23. If you're listening on podcast or Spotify right now, this is getting turned around ASAP right now. It'll be live on YouTube and everything. Subscribe, Field of 68 Podcast Network. Zach and Nathan in the chat. Go Cougs. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Once again, at Church Ball Pod on everything, at Chase_Rogers0, at Karter B8. We will be back next week. As always, you know the drill for the preview. Should have a special guest interview coming on, and we will be back on Tuesday for the Arizona State preview. We'll see y'all.